Hi there. I am very excited to be talking about improving integrative core today. First, I just want you to take a second and think about an integrative core that would directly reflect a professional thriving in their chosen career. Now, this person would definitely have to be super adaptable because of our rapidly changing world, especially today. They would have to have really effective communication styles, whether that be written or orally. They would have to be able to have a coping skill set for their mental health in today's world where everything and everyone is just chronically online. They would make a wonderful listener and be able to debate and discuss topics professionally. And after thinking about all of that, I have put in a lot of time in what learning objectives and coursework would produce a person of that nature to be successful in any career path they've chosen. And I have come up with some ideas. Now, to start off, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Belle Caston. I'm a senior nursing major, and I thought that a personal experience was necessary, especially for what my recommendations are, obviously. To set the scene, I came in freshman year, super excited to take a course, my FYS, and it was the first course I chose. I was super excited, and when I sat down in class that day, the professor told us that there was a different course we were taking, and none of me nor my classmates knew about this change until right then and there on our first day of school. So obviously, after that moment, I have just been kind of thinking that the integrative core could use some improvements. So in my personal experience, I have found it to be unsuccessful. And after that happened freshman year, I have found that I never got put in the classes that I was passionate about. I have, however, found passion in the courses that I wasn't truly interested in, and that was pretty exciting, but that was one class out of the entire program. So the day I really wanted to see a change was when I kept getting placed in classes with my nursing major friends. And the whole point about Mount Union's mission statement is to prepare students for fulfilling lives and to be responsible citizens and to have meaningful work. And thinking about that, I just think that all of those things are kind of leading to the idea of being able to find out what they are really passionate about and live passionately. And I just don't think that my experience, I was able to do that. So this program has an amazing structure, I think. However, with my critiques, I believe it could be more adaptive to this new world that we live in. So moving on, my general thesis is that after discussing the problems that I have experienced at the integrative core at Mount Union, the main problem I want to address is a need for debates and discussions in today's world. Mental health is something I touched on, creative projects, and collaboration across different majors for interdisciplinary work. Now, I get these ideas are kind of broad. I'm going to go into it, but I just want to reiterate the fact that these 4 things are so beneficial to students with growing brains and being in a new environment, and I just think they're not being utilized enough. So why is change needed? I'm so happy you asked. The current state of the integrative core at Mount Union, I think, is not as modernized as it should be. Student success, I'm gonna go with my mental health and my debate and discussion for these 2, because with mental health, I feel like students need to be able to have a set of direct coping skills, and people are talking about mental health and making it saying make mental health a priority, but I don't think anybody is truly teaching us about mental health and how important that it is. Because you can talk about mental health all you want, but when somebody cannot come back from some challenge that they're facing in their life, that reflects their work, that reflects their relationships, and it makes their life way more difficult than it should be. And then workplace success, I think debate and discussion is super important. It shows emotional intelligence, empathy. It shows the student multiple perspectives, and you can do it in such a professional manner. We do have discussion posts online. I do not think those should be utilized. I believe that being in person and being able to discuss a topic that two people have different opinions on, I think, and say they don't agree, being able to disagree professionally and respectively, I think that is really important, especially because a lot of professions today are interdisciplinary, and most people are going to be working with a ton of different groups and in teams. And I think that being able to effectively communicate their feelings without being put down or shut off right away is why the discussions and debates should be more utilized. I think that because college is so expensive, it should prepare the student for not only their career path, but also their personal lives. And I think that being able to make a curriculum that really explores their creativity and their mental health and all of the things that make a person successful is super important. And because I haven't had that experience, I'm hoping that listening to why this change is needed and hearing the students on why they want change would benefit Mount Union. And then I put Creative Window on here because I think that students doing PowerPoints and papers gets kind of tedious after a while. And I think that they should be able to have a creative window and be able to choose whether they want to do a different type of project. I think that end of year PowerPoints and papers are awesome, maybe the first time, because then it kind of shuts down their creative process. So I think kind of like really implementing a creative window in them and being able to see their mind kind of go different places is really important. This is about mental health. This is from Martin. He said discussions about well-being have become far more frequent in academic settings, and many business school leaders now believe it is imperative to focus on mental health as a part of the overall educational experience. He is a scholarly professor, and he's seeing that with business students, having their mental health be hardened and lacking can really reflect their poor grades and their relationship status with their peers. And I just think it's important to talk about how much it would make a difference if we were taught about our mental health in the first years of college. Moving on, my recommendations. The key changes I'm proposing in the learning objectives or experiences would make the integrative core a more successful program, in my opinion. So my recommendations that are not on here, but I mentioned them before, is more flexibility. And that's all I'm going to say, because as a nursing major, again, I hate to reiterate this, but I did not get to pick any of the courses that I really wanted to be in due to a scheduling issue. And that was really sad for me because I love to learn and I love to be creative, and I wasn't able to do that. So back to my recommendations in my project that I think are great ideas. So real world creative projects. I think that these would allow the student to use their problem-solving skills on a topic and then be able to present that information in different ways than just simple presentations or written works. I believe that they should be able to choose, and whether this be like a monologue or being able to present an interactive discussion or even being able to go teach like their subject and like why it's important to them. I think having different creative outlets to be able to do real world projects are super important, and it just applies so many of their skills that are necessary to be successful. And then mental health, obviously, I think that today it should be incorporated in the FYS, and I think that it should be taught. I think because everyone is so chronically online, there can be a lot of emotions online and you can't really get to the bottom of it, and you can just be in this stuck, sad space. And teaching about where to go, what to do if you're feeling like this, and just really, you could even make it a project, but really making it aware and feasible during that first year so that you can carry the skills throughout the rest of your college. And then debate and discussion. I believe that being able to effectively communicate in front of an audience is a super important skill, and also with your peers. Being able to use different ways to present that information is super important in the workplace because it helps get people's attention and allow you to think critically. Unfortunately, a lot of the coursework and courses are online, as well as the discussions, which I mentioned earlier. I believe that they're not as useful as discussing in person, because I think that being able to have that physical communication and being able to hear another person's perspective could change yours. And I think that's important. So much of today's workforce is carried on by interdisciplinary teams, and allowing students to work in teams and with teams would be super helpful. So I said collaboration across majors because, first of all, I didn't really get to collaborate with any other major besides nursing, but I also think that it would be super beneficial because you would be able to pull ideas from them and then pull from what you already know, and then be able to make a project, like a real world creative project. And I think that like bio majors can be with nursing majors, or like finance majors can be with business majors. I just think that that would be really beneficial, and it's also a great way to meet other people. All of these recommendations will go back to what I said in the beginning, which is a thriving professional in any type of career path they may have chosen. So I think these recommendations would definitely put a person ahead of everybody else by the time they graduate. So how does it all come together? Like I said in the beginning, these benefits would make a person super duper adaptable, be able to communicate effectively, already have the skills to be able to work in an interdisciplinary team, and have working and known coping skills to be able to work effectively among any complex stressor the world will challenge them with. And also open the door to a creativity in their mind. So much of today's creativity is not allowed to be used because they just will look something up or they'll do it online. And I think that being forced to open that creative door allows them to use their instinctual creative abilities to get opinions and ideas across in a different way that's not just a presentation. These positive outcomes will completely change a student's outlook on the integrative core. I know this because there was another student in my group working with me and my team who had a lot of the same ideas I did. So if there's 2 of us, that means there's many more of us who think that these proposed changes would bring students in IC way further than they are right now. I think that I am so excited to see what happens, and thank you so much for your consideration.